and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's been a weird day, hasn't it?
It has been a weird day. We had the eclipse.
Turn around.
Okay, let's not get into that.
No.
But it's been an exciting weekend. I mean, shout out first to the U17s winning the GA Cup. Former guest Neil Pierre hitting the game-winning PK. So that was exciting.
I
And
was.
then, of course, the Union getting the W in Nashville. I mean, that was a big weekend, and now they sit alone as probably gonna jinx us, the only undefeated.
Yeah, I've been refraining on saying that
Yeah.
really,
So anyway,
but we know what the deal is.
yeah. So if you're listening, you know the deal. But anyway, we got a good friend of the show, a former multiple time guest. We'll not go
Not
into
former, he still is a multiple time guest.
well, yes, yeah,
Yes,
true.
how many times are we at now? Like 6 times?
I don't even know.
I
I
don't know
don't care.
who's
But
keeping
anyway,
track anymore.
ladies and gentlemen, back from Nashville, literally back this morning from Nashville. He is the host of the Free Kick Pod and a good friend of ours and somebody we are talk to daily. Our good friend Todd Lewis. Todd, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, but I thought that we would go ahead and continue singing Total Clips of the Heart, but I guess we're not going to do that
Ah, I
because
know,
Kyle
Kyle.
said just stop. Like, what are
I
we doing, Kyle?
know. I
You
know.
really want to hear me sing?
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely 'cause you're up in the press box.
Turn around.
Every now and then. Yeah, we could keep going, but yeah.
Do we really want to hear
We
me
don't want to
sing?
hear Kyle sing though,
No, we
trust
don't. No
me.
one does.
Trust me. But
So,
yeah.
so anyway, on today's show, we're going to talk about Todd's adventures in Nashville. We're going to talk about the Union's 2-1 comeback victory, and we're going to look ahead to Atlanta this week. But before we get started, what are you wearing today?
Okay, I am wearing my black V-neck Philadelphia Union t-shirt that I got last year. Yes, I'm in kind of all black today, you know.
Which you always look great in.
Oh, thank you.
And I am wearing my Sons of Ben, was it crew neck or
Yeah, that Ringer
yeah,
t-shirt you
Ringer
got from
t-shirt?
the
I
Sons of
really
Ben.
like this. It's
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And Todd, I see you have a Nashville t-shirt on.
I do. Yeah, this is fitting that, we just played in Nashville. Jillian's wearing all black. Johnny Cash, right?
That's what I was
There you
going
go.
for. See, you get it.
Nashville. You have Nashville colors on technically, Kyle. I mean, that's closer to the Nashville colors than the Union colors.
This is
So this
true.
might be a Nashville podcast. But yeah, I'm wearing this shirt that says Nash. It's from the Nash Collection Company in Nashville. A really cool company that, takes a spin on old vintage clothes over the years of Nashville and makes it modern and a little bit pricey, but it was worth it. Always want to try to bring one thing back with me other than pictures when I go on trips. So, it so happened when we came back from Anaheim, I spent way too much money on sunglasses, but now I call them my California sunglasses, and now I have this. So, yeah, pictures are nice, but coming back with actual items is also very important, I think. So, yeah, that is
Yeah.
what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I know. Like whenever we go on trips, I try to get like a cool magnet or something. I keep sticking them on my filing cabinet at school. So, but yes, I like bringing something home to remember like that.
No, I think we brought some really cool items home. But one thing before we get started,
Yeah, I got something to share.
Jillian's got something for Todd to share. We
I got something to
talked.
share with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
everybody.
yeah.
So you know how the Union like to sign players from the third and
Like,
second division of other countries, Todd?
Yeah.
so my dad was, he's living his best like retired life, and he was in the Philippines and Japan. Okay. And I saw him on Saturday and he had a gift for me. He brought back a jersey for me that he got at some mall in Tokyo. Okay. It is from
Ooh.
S Pulse, which is in like the second league in Japan. Yeah. So for anyone just listening, it is orange and yeah. So there you have it.
They've been in the J League,
Mhm.
but like I was like, who? And then I
Yeah.
like looked them up. They actually are a decent team. They were like a run like middle of the table J League team, and then they've recently fallen into second league. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like wow. So Jillian has a second league J League jersey. So
How many people in America do you think has that?
that's a
Not a
good
lot.
question.
or people listening to this podcast, maybe in America, maybe there's some, but people that listen to this podcast, absolutely nobody else but Jillian.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
that
I
is.
think that is really cool too.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think if you weren't
excellent.
going for the Johnny Cash fit, I think that jersey would have made a debut tonight.
Yeah, I did think about wearing it. But I thought, oh, maybe another time.
Speaking of which, in your travels, real quick before we get started, did you see the Johnny Cash all black Nashville kit?
Ooh.
I mean, obviously they didn't wear it, but
No, but
did you see
So
people in it?
I know we'll get into
yeah.
the game experience and everything here in a second, so I won't get into that right now. But off the top of my head, no, I don't recall seeing that. A lot of just home primary kits.
Okay. I was just curious
Mhm.
because that was like if we would have gone, that was the one thing I was going to snoop out to see if I could get on a good deal because I love Johnny Cash, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get it just to have like that jersey.
Mhm.
I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
Jillian, where can we where can people find us?
So you can find us on social media. We are on Twitter at TOTWAG. We are on Instagram and Facebook at the One Team We Agree On. We're on YouTube at the One Team We Agree On, and our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com. And you can find us on all your different podcasting platforms.
So Todd, let's get into it. Talk about the good, the bad of the city of Nashville.
Good, the bad. Ooh. So we're talking about my personal
Yeah,
experiences,
so
or
give us a little rundown of your trip.
all right, cool. So, man, running off of 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day will definitely make you forget details, I feel like. So I will try to remember as much as I can, which shouldn't be that hard. But yeah, so I mean, my sister and I, yes, my sister, that is who's
Yes.
in the pictures, my sister, Shelby,
Yes.
not my girlfriend. But I think that's pretty much dead now, so I don't think we need to remind people. But just in case we have to, yeah. So we flew down to Nashville on Friday. Polomy was also on the same flight with us, so we actually all sat on the same row. And so once we got to the airport in Nashville, we all went our separate ways. And what was so cool about this trip is, we were Shelby and I were planning this pretty much as soon as the schedule came out in January, I want to say it was. And I mean, it's the same thing with you guys. When we saw the schedule last year, we're like, we're going to Colorado. And all of us agreed when we were in Colorado, if we go to Utah, we're all going to Utah because why not? Like, it's
Yeah,
so beautiful out there in that part of the country. And yeah, we were right. The Union did, in fact, are going to play RSL, but it's going to be at home and not
right.
away. So that kind of put a damper on things. And
Yeah,
we thought about maybe Portland, maybe going out there, but it's like, man, why are you going to do that in March when it's just so cold? And so
Mhm.
we're like, well, Nashville looks good. And so we decided on Nashville. And what's great about this trip, yes, it's great that the Union won, but a really good friend of mine, and depending on when this podcast comes out, Jem Toygar, who's over in London. He's been on my podcast a couple times, whether it be, or actually, I think the only time he's been on the podcast is when I was covering the Premier League. And then once I switched over to the Union, I did this series called the London Underground League, which is um, the league that he's a part of. It's train workers, and we can get into this on my show a little bit more if people want to hear about that. But yeah, it's the underground of London. It's the transportation of London. So a way for the workers to, just digest after work is, play football. And so each of the different lines in London have a football team. And so Jem runs the Piccadilly line. And so he reached out to me. We're going back 5 years ago when I was doing the Premier League show, and asked, can I come on to your podcast and talk about this league? And I said, yeah, I don't know how you found me, but yes, sure, you can definitely come on. And so we'd been friends ever since. And so he went to Nashville the last 2 years, and he really wanted me to go last year, but it just wouldn't work out. And he went on like some super crazy trip last year in America. And we told him, you know what? You've been in Nashville the last 2 years. We're going to Nashville. I know that you might not want to go back. And he said, no, yes, I want to go back. You guys are in, I'm in. And so Jem came over from London, met us in Nashville. My friend Brad, who's been on the podcast, I believe, a couple times. You guys have heard him.
Uh-huh.
Used to work on my show editing the podcast. He lives in Knoxville, and so it's his birthday tomorrow, Tuesday. And we said, hey, come to Knoxville. I mean, come to Nashville, dude. You're 2.5 hours away. Let's like celebrate your birthday by going to the Union game and we'll all hang
Absolutely.
out. And so, yeah, we had a big group of us, and that was fantastic. And so, uh, met up with Jem on Friday, and the good. I mean, obviously a Union win, but I mean, it is insane, like what this dude was able to get us into just because he's English. So he
You
got
shared
us.
some pictures. So for people who don't know,
You have
Todd shared
pictures,
some. Well,
or do I? Did I?
no,
I did share
I
pictures, right?
you shared pictures with us, and then we were like, "My goodness, Todd, like VIP stuff." So yeah,
Yeah.
explain to the listeners what he was able to get you into because it was wild.
Yeah, so Friday night we went to the one hotel, which is a 5-star hotel down in the city. And he said, "Yeah, I got us reservations for the rooftop bar." We said, "All right, cool." We get there. He says, "I got one better. Not only do we have access to the rooftop bar, we have a VIP section for us." I'm like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Yep, all the food, all you want to drink, it's all free. They're taking care of us." I said, "You cannot make this up." And so, yeah, I mean, we're just chilling on the one rooftop bar in the VIP lounge. People are looking at us like, who the hell are these people? Like, what makes them so special? And Jem had made friends with the GM and a couple of the workers the last 2 years he was in Nashville. And so, they said, next time you're in town, we'll take care of you. And so that's essentially what they did. But this one worker came up to him that he's never met before and said, "You're from England?" And I'm sure we'll get into this maybe a little bit more on my podcast or whatever, and maybe he'll tell the story a little bit better than I am. But she's like, there's this bar called Pushing Daisies, I believe it's called, and I have a friend who's a manager there. If you guys can get to this bar in 30 minutes, she'll get you guys VIP section. And we said, okay. And so we go from the one hotel to Pushing Daisies. And yeah, same thing, dude. I mean, they have a section of the bar, and this is a bar that's underground, and they have a gigantic table for us. We're like, what is going on? And again, same thing. People are looking at us like, who are these? Because, people were telling us, the workers, yeah, typically when this happens, when people are sitting at these are like artists or athletes and everything. And so people are like, you can tell they're looking at us trying to figure out who we are. And, I'm like, yeah, they saved these tables for me, the Free Kick podcast. Don't you know
Yeah,
who this is? Of course, it's VIP treatment for the Free Kick. I didn't say that, no. But
you
yeah, it was
should
so
have. You
crazy.
really should have.
Hey, that's a way to go ahead and get the word out, right? What's the
Right.
Free Kick podcast? And then look, all these people, they've been missing something in the life, and now they wouldn't be missing it anymore. So yeah, we're out pushing daisies, and Jem, he's a character. This dude talks to anybody and everybody. Just he's there for the vibes. And so we met these two girls named Kylie and Laura. And so they hung out with us for maybe like 2 hours, maybe I'd say. And then Shelby and I got tired, and we headed back to our hotel, which was on Vanderbilt University's property, essentially, in a section of the city called Hillsborough. Super nice city,
Mhm.
section of the city, only 2.5 miles away from Broadway. So you weren't that far away at all, but it was not as noisy as Broadway. So that's what was nice about it. And you had a lot of these cute little boutique stores, a lot of mom and pop restaurants and everything. That's where I wound up getting the shirt at one of those boutique stores. So it was a really, really cool trip. And there's Jam after we leave. I'm still partying until like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, all head out, or actually no, it was probably 9:15, head out, go get breakfast, go to the zoo, um, go to the game, obviously, then, head back out and party again. And you asked about the bad. I would say the bad was you could tell we went to Luke Bryant's bar, and you could tell like emotions were running a little high on some people. And I was feeling droggy and everything, and I wasn't like I could feel my awareness going down around like 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, it's probably not safe for me to be out here if I'm not aware of my surroundings. So I headed back to my hotel, and then as I'm leaving the hotel, I'm seeing all these people like getting arrested, cops coming everywhere. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I guess people were fighting or whatever, alcohol makes you do. So I would say that was the bad. Or you could say what's even worse is when we were at the airport, my sister said, Morgan Wallen was down on Broadway, and if people
Yeah.
don't know who
Oh,
Morgan Wallen is, he's a
yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
probably the biggest country star right
Oh, my
now.
sister loves him, Kendall.
And
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen was at Eric Church's brand new bar that opened up on Friday. And
Hmm.
this is a 6-story building. Apparently, he picks up a chair, throws it down on Broadway, almost hits 2 cops. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how intoxicated do you have to be? So,
Yeah, I heard
the
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we should have went down to Broadway on Sunday night because we could have saw Morgan Wallen and saw this drama unfold. A chair getting thrown off of a rooftop bar. Like, dude, what goes through your mind? It makes no sense to me. But like we said earlier, alcohol can make people do some crazy things. But I would say those 2 moments, people getting arrested and Morgan Wallen throwing a chair down and we're sending cops. I mean, he is very fortunate that nobody got hit on Broadway because it's so
Oh,
busy down there.
oh,
So how
dude.
nobody
Mhm.
got hit by a chair, that's crazy. But
I saw a
yeah, I mean,
video of it coming down. Yeah. There was somebody had one on Twitter of the chair coming down. And I'm like, wow, that is really lucky.
Hmm.
So, I mean,
yes,
overall thoughts on Broadway. Is it really a true tourist trap?
yes, 100%.
That's what everybody says. So I was there when I used to go to Nationals because Nationals used to be at the Tracy Collin Natatorium there at Vanderbilt when I was a kid, and yeah, I've been to Opryland. I don't think I ever went to the zoo. What was your thoughts on the zoo? Somebody enjoys the zoos as much as we do. What is your thought on the zoo? It was
Yeah,
nice.
Shelby, first thing Shelby said to me, she's like, Kyle and Jillian are gonna love this.
I
That's like literally
remember
what
it.
she said.
I remember it being good, but we were in the middle of prelims finals, so we just kind of went through it like really quick. I don't remember too much about it. I was also like 14 at the time. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
our
I think
first.
Shelby said she would rank that as her second favorite zoo, with
Yeah,
Cincinnati being the best. She's been to like, I don't know, 5, 6 different zoos. Um, she thought highly of it. I thought it was nice and everything, but honestly, dude, getting 3, 4 hours of sleep, I'm like, I'm
right.
so
Hmm.
tired, dude. Like, I'm enjoying this, but I'm like, I could also go for a nap during the afternoon. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And also got to go to these 2 music venues on Friday called the End and Exit In. And if people aren't familiar with them, I don't blame you at all. It's not the Ryman or the Opry that people will obviously know. But the whole reason I wanted to go here is because my favorite band, they're called Paramore. They're from Franklin, Tennessee, which is just outside Nashville. And so they had played 3 shows at each of these venues. And so I just wanted to go there. I couldn't go inside of it, but taking pictures outside of it and being where they played. And the cool thing about Exit In is, so in 2017, I think that's when Paramore last played there. And that's their first show back with Zach Farrow, who was their founding drummer. He had left the band in 2010 with his brother Josh Farrow. And then Zach came back in 2017, and that's where they opened welcoming Zach back was at the Exit In. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Walking outside the music venues there, super small venues, which I love these kind of venues
Oh,
because
me too.
you can be intimate with the artists, and yeah, it's cool. I mean, hearing and seeing thousands upon thousands of people, but when it's a couple hundred, less than 100 people, yeah, there's something special about those kind of concerts. So hopefully that answers your questions for an answer that took like 20 minutes long.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I appreciate those kind of small places. We had a place in Lancaster, the Chameleon Club, which closed not that long ago, but that place was a great venue. We get big acts in there, so it's always fun seeing bands like that. Are there so are there any places you want to check out again in the future?
Man, I'll be honest with you guys. Nashville's probably not at the top of my priority list to go back to visit, like Colorado 100% is.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gemini said, the next time you're ever here in America, we're going to Colorado because he's never been to Denver and he's
Nice.
heard me talk it up so many times. So he's like, yeah, I'm going there. Um, maybe checking out some of the actual music being played and not so much the nightclubs on top of the
Mhm.
bars and everything. Because I appreciate local music, and that's something that I didn't take advantage of. Um, I didn't get to take advantage of. I almost said hot toddies. That's definitely not it. Oh God. What is Martin's barbecue? Everybody
Yeah.
said you got to go to Martin's. Didn't go to Martin's Hottie Bees. Does that sound right? I don't
Hey,
know.
Hattie
bees.
B's.
Hattie B.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
have
didn't
one in
go there.
Vegas too.
Everybody
Probably
was
had it.
talking that up.
Did you get some
But
Nashville hot chicken while
I
you were
did, I
there?
did, I did, I did.
Good. I love Nashville hot chicken.
It's good. It's good. I forget the name of the restaurant. I'd give them a plug, even though, I'm not going to get anything from it. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Wasn't as hot as people said it was going to be, but I also was told, different restaurants have hotter levels than
Hmm.
others, which makes sense.
Hey, bees. When I got the top level, it was pretty spicy, but it was good.
Yeah, remember we had that on our anniversary
Yeah,
at the
we did
Cosmo. They have a
with our one of
in
our good
Vegas.
coaching colleagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
lives out there.
yeah.
So let's get into the game. Union versus Nashville. Obviously, lineup comes out. No Andre, so Oliver's back in net.
Hmm.
Mikel's out of lineup with plantar fasciitis, which, going on turf this week against Atlanta, I'll talk about this real quick. When Jim said it's plantar fasciitis, what was your first thought, Ty? Because I'm thinking to myself, maybe we got land and we got the bye week. Maybe hold off a little bit on that because that thing, plantar fasciitis, if no one's listening has ever had that, it is painful and it takes a while to heal.
Oh, I didn't even hear what it was. I just heard that
It
it was
was
a foot
plantar
injury.
fasciitis. So
Yeah, Jim kind of said that when he was saying it, he kind of like I don't yeah, he was saying it and I don't think he quite finished. It's like plantar fasci and then
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like that's fasciitis. Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
It sounds like it's like something like that, but just
Yeah,
heal.
so
So,
fun.
but anyway, so Oliver's back in net, Quinn's up top, and the Union started off this game very flat.
Very. We're like, what the heck are we doing?
For a team that in Nashville that is towards the bottom in the league and plays inside the final third, for a team that really hasn't scored many goals this year, the Union just were kind of on the back foot, and it was just a very odd,
Uninspiring.
uninspiring first half. So, Todd, you were in the supporters' end. What are your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, not good. um,
Yeah, cue the clip.
Did you just
yeah,
feel
cue it.
like they just were kind of walking through the first half? Like, just nothing was clicking. Like Jim said, we went to three in the back ends presser, but it works for some things. Reason it
It
went,
didn't work
but
at all.
it didn't. It really didn't. And he's like, it was to neutralize Hani. We've all been there, but it really did. They just seemed disorganized and didn't know what they wanted to do. They created zero chances. So,
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that Jem said to me was like, "Are you sure this is supposed to be five in the back? Because I'm not seeing it." And he's like, halfway through the first half, he's like, "Oh, now I see it." Yeah, it just seemed like the players didn't know exactly what positions they wanted to be in. And I talked about
mhm.
this in my goals breakdown video, where you saw Nashville come out with three midfielders as well as the Union. The Union had McGlynn, Gazag, and Martinez. But what Nashville was doing is Hani Mukhtar was dropping into the midfield a lot. So then it would be a 4-3, which is then an advantage for Nashville because they have more midfielders overrunning the Union's midfielders.
Right,
And so the Union couldn't get pressure on the ball. They were just lackadaisical. They were just casually walking, I thought. And we saw Nashville actually start this game pressing the Union,
right.
pulling a
Yes, like
Union.
crazy.
And it's like, Nashville's not typically a team that presses. And yeah, you expect the Union to, you know, not have a lot of possession of this ball. They're going to go ahead and try to hit you on the counterattack. But like the Union just never got a chance to get the ball because nobody's pressuring it. And we saw Quinn Sullivan, I believe, have the first chance of this game, and it came on a play of nothing. Damian Lowe, if I'm remembering correctly, plays a long ball up top just to clear it, and then the Union go on the attack with Quinn, Gazag, and Carranza, and then the Union get a shot with Sullivan. You're like, all right, well, after surviving some of that pressure from Nashville, now the Union are going to wake up. And they didn't. It got
No,
worse.
no.
And so they eventually give up a goal, which I don't think Nashville was deserving of that goal
No.
or a goal in general. They did nothing, absolutely nothing to create any chances. They scored that goal because there was no pressure on the midfield. That's exactly what happened. Hani Mukhtar
Right.
drops into the midfield, and what I was just talking about, where they have the man advantage now, they're overrunning your midfield because nobody's putting pressure on the ball. That's the only reason why Nashville scored. And then Sam Surridge makes a good time run off of Jack Elliott, and then he has a free header in the back of the net. And that was it for Nashville. I believe they only had 2 shots in the second half. Like, this isn't a good team at all. And yes, I know that they were missing Joe Willis, their starting goalkeeper. They were missing Shaq Moore, Walker Zimmerman, two key players for them defensively. No Tyler Boyd or Randall Leal, two
Yeah.
key players in the midfield for them. I'm not naive. And okay, yeah, that did play into how Nashville played this game, I think. But I said it before the game, whether they have their starting players return to this game or not, that this is a game the Union should win because Nashville's not good. They're not creating chances. They're not scoring goals. They've looked horrible in pretty much every single game they played defensively this season. And it's like this game, like this should be 3 points.
Right.
And so we were saying in the second half after Carranza scored, we're like, hey, Union, we want 3 points. We want 3 points. Which, yeah, you're right. You alluded to it. I was in the supporter section for this game, which felt a little bit strange because the last time I was in there was in 2022 in Atlanta when Brad and his girlfriend and kids came to the game with Shelby and I. And I was like, man, this feels so strange. Like, am I allowed to chant? Like, do I know the chants? Of course I know the chants. And after the game, my voice was gone because yeah, it's fun cheering on the Union. It's fun, just creating that supporters atmosphere. And yeah, like I said, I mean, we knew the Union needed all 3 points in this game because if you get a point, it feels like it's 2 points drop because Nashville's not good. I don't care that
No.
they're playing at home. That's not a good team at all.
No, no. I mean, going into this, you see, like, oh, yeah, we should win this. And credit to Jim and the coaching staff for realizing that at halftime, like, and not really waiting and too long and getting it going, like, right after that.
Yeah, I thought that the second half the Union definitely came out. Like I tweeted at halftime, like Union definitely need to wake up. And it wasn't just me being like, oh, I gotta be Negadelphia. That was like one of the almost reminded me a little bit of Pachuca, but only Pachuca outplayed the Union. Nashville didn't outplay the Union. Union
No.
just
No.
no, the
Yeah, I saw some
Union.
Nashville fans saying, "Oh yeah, we dominated the Union in the
No,
first
you
half."
didn't.
No, you
No, you
didn't.
didn't. No, you did. We literally were sleepwalking that first 45.
Yeah.
Kreta Oliver, he made two nice stops, I thought, in the first half.
Yeah. I continue to look pretty
And,
strong.
and also credit the goalpost for that one. I
Yeah.
think it was that
Yeah.
one where
Well,
he
that's
could,
because of him, because
Yeah.
he
yeah,
got a hand to the ball first, which then
yeah,
puts it against the post. Like
right.
that was really good instincts. Do you think Joe
Mhm.
Be,
Bendick? No offense
No.
to
no. If
that.
that's Joe, it's
No.
two nothing. At least. I mean, no, you're right. That's the one thing I said to her was that was a play where that's the only play really you could make. I mean, the only other player I feel that would make that would be Andre, maybe Matt Freeze if he was still in this roster. You know what I'm saying? That's just that's an instinctual play, and that's probably Phil was coaching him up on that.
Yeah. I feel like,
That's
yeah, he's getting stronger each time. Like, I think he's learning and learning, and Phil Wedden does a great job with them. And,
right.
you see Oliver growing confidence each time, I think.
I think so too. But I think I want to know what Jim said in that locker room because they came out that first 5 minutes and they were a different team. And I don't know what you thought, Todd, but that nice ball from Martinez, Quinn kind of plays with it, but he instinctually sees right there Julian dropping in and boom, hits him. And, Julian doesn't overthink it and get nervous and sky it. That was my other thing. I was like, they'll sky this. And
Yeah,
Julian's got
like
better at
minded in
that.
the second half.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
that
right.
sitter he should have scored on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should have scored that. But again, Julian scores it, and then you're like, okay, game on. And then here come, and then also Bizo, Bedoya. Bedoya comes in, brings a level again of calmness. And this is what we were saying
That
in the
calmness,
offseason.
that leadership.
This
Yeah.
is what the Union were missing, I feel. And I said this on Saturday on the edge of Philly. Like, he's bringing that last 20, 30 minutes, that kind of leadership to close out the game, that, he can go 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I love this role for him.
What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I actually said at halftime, I was disappointed once the second half started, seeing that Jim made no substitutions, that he
Right.
stayed with three in the back. And um, talk about a blessing in disguise with Kai Wagner getting injured, which, feels harsh to say, but
Yeah.
like you do wonder if Kai doesn't get hurt, how much longer does Jim wait to bring in Olivier Bizo and
Yeah.
Alejandro Bedoya? And as soon as Kai gets hurt, then they move Nate over to the left, and here comes Bizo and Alejandro Bedoya. And I swear that Bizo's first touch of the game was a chance that he created.
Yeah.
Like he had a good game. Him
He
and
did.
Bedoya provided a good spark. And I've talked about this in the past in the podcast, where you could tell there's a real understanding, a real chemistry between Bedoya and Bizo, just like
Yes.
there's
There
real
are.
understanding and chemistry between Quinn Sullivan and Nate Harriel. Like that's
Right.
the pairing. Like why mess with that? And yes, I know Jim says, well, Bedoya can still play 90 minutes, but it just seems like there's a better understanding between Olivier and Alejandro and Nate Harriel and Quinn Sullivan. And it shouldn't be that hard to figure out because, they've played with each other the longest. Nate and Quinn playing in the academy. You had Bedoya and Biza playing all those years. And so they just know the runs that each other are going to make. They have that chemistry. They have that understanding.
It
And Olivier Biza played extremely well. Same with Bedoya. And
Yeah.
I thought Bedoya should have been the change at half. You take off Jack Elliott, who I thought was the weakest of the center backs, which, it's no knock on him, but I don't think, and I know Jim says, well, we can play three in the back with these guys. I don't think you can. We saw it last year. Anytime that Jacob Glesnes got pulled out of position when he was out wide, he got beat way too easily.
right.
Jacob Glesnes isn't good out wide. Damian Lowe trying to play centrally isn't a good combination. But you put two center backs together, and that's when you see good things happen. I actually think that Damian Lowe, for as poor as the Union were in the first half, I thought Damian Lowe played really well. In
I
my
did
opinion, I
too.
think he
Yeah.
was probably the Union's best player of the game. Shout out any chance that Nashville tried to create. He's a player that was hustling,
Mm-hmm.
running to all those loose balls, trying to, make sure that, hey, look, we got to get control of this game. Damian had a really, really solid game. Had a couple chances on set pieces too in the second half.
He did.
But yeah, I think it's a great substitution with Jim bringing on Bedoya. I think the role with Bedoya being a super sub, something we saw El Senior do in his final season, which it made a difference.
It did.
And yes, I know Jim says that Ali can play 90 minutes. I'm sure he'll tell you that he can play 90 minutes still. But
But
look,
we
when
know
you
he
need to spark out the bench, who's going to bring that if it's not Bedoya? Not many other players.
No. No, and doesn't it feel good to say Bizo had a really good game? Kyle, I
He's
saw
a
you looking
top
at
five
me.
right back now. Kyle has the opportunity to do that. If it
pause.
plays like that, absolutely.
Like that's
But
Well,
the
okay,
issue is he
so
doesn't play like that
he's
all the
so
time.
so
inconsistent.
you
He's
saw
inconsistent.
stats I posted on Twitter. I mean,
He got cooked in Portland.
93% passing, two chances created. I mean, I was impressed. And here
Yeah.
again, you brought up a good point, because I was saying this to Jillian. We were both talking about this after the game. Him and Bizo, and we've talked about this too, and you brought it up, are so good together.
Bizo and Bedoya.
Yeah, Bizo and Bedoya are so good together.
Yeah.
Why don't that, if like Kai's getting gas, you move Nate over to the left in the second half? Here's another flexibility on that second half substitution. Maybe this, for Bizo's confidence, is he's a second half stub, moving forward. And maybe he comes in, and when you're chasing a goal and needs to create something, I mean, I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, you saw
on
the
that.
impact he made as soon as he came in.
But also, to your point, Todd, it's the same with Kai and Leon, because when Leon's healthy, Leon can drop back and it pushes Kai even more forward. Now,
Exactly.
and we've talked about this too. I mean, now you're starting to see a little bit with Jack and Kai, but the trust still is developing there, in my opinion. But within time, maybe you'll see it. But I still think once we get Leon back, if he's fully healthy, there's another feather in the hat for Jim too, for that
To close
second.
out games.
Exactly. Exactly.
It gives you options. And
yeah. And talking about Jack, I want to give him a shout out, because that beautiful set piece
oh
goal
my goodness.
To finish off, and credit to Danny now, 2 goals in 2 games after his a former club and Hungarian National League coach called him out. He's now kind of put, the monkey on his back and said, "Hey, let's go." And he's really stepped his game up, and
Yeah.
he's starting to play a little bit more confident, I feel. 2 goals from open play. But let's talk about Jack Elliott. Jack
Jack
McGlynn.
McGlynn. What
Yeah,
what a ball from him on that corner. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Perfectly placed. And then it goes to Gazdag, who is unmarked and just heads that in. My goodness.
Todd, what do you think about Jack McGlynn getting more and more comfortable with these set piece opportunities this year? Because we're starting to see him. Jim's giving him more and more opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think much of it. I mean,
Okay.
there really is no debate because, it'd be one thing if, you have a right-footed guy and a left-footed guy, but both him and Kai Wagner are left-footed guys. Both of them are the set piece takers. And so I think both of them play fantastic balls into the middle on corner kicks. Both of them play really good free kicks. So I don't really notice any difference when Kai's taking them compared to Jack or Jack taking them compared to Kai. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can argue, well, the Union were creating chances in the second half off of the corner kicks when Jack McGlynn's taking them. But I think the same thing would have happened if Kai Wagner would have been taking them, just because we've seen it already this season.
Right.
For
Matt
sure.
Ralph, I think, shout out to him, sent me a stat today that the Union have scored on 11% of their corner kicks this season. That's insane.
That is.
11% of their corner kicks.
Yeah, we've
That's
been really good on
extremely
them this
high.
year.
I
That's
mean, we're tied with
crazy.
Kansas City right now for fifth, 5 set piece goals. I
Like,
mean,
yeah, did you like on the broadcast? Wasn't it on the broadcast they were saying like how what we're like the top team
we're tied right now
or yeah, but
with
they were
scoring
saying it on
Kansas
the
City.
broadcast even. We're like, isn't it
So,
crazy to hear that stat though?
I mean, here's something to track. I mean, in 2020, what was it, 2? We had what, 22 or 21 or 22 set piece goals that year. I mean, something to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean it's a deadly weapon to have, if you're not
right.
getting goals from open play, which they got one this game with Julian Kranza. It's good to score your set piece goals here. It's good to, be deadly on the restarts. I mean, it's what won the Union the game in Portland. Yeah, they didn't play great from open play, but look, it's those little areas, those little details that I think the Union excel in compared to most teams in MLS. And we saw one of those opportunities in this game, and Daniel Gazza converts it. I would argue that I think that was probably poorly defended by
Oh, yeah,
Nashville, and
there's no one
they're going to
100%.
argue, they don't have their best player in the air in Walker Zimmerman to defend those kind of balls, but you have 4 or 5 players inside the 6-yard box. You're playing a zone of marking system, and nobody gets ahead to that ball. Daniel Lovitz misjumps his header, which then allows Daniel Gazza to have a free header. Um, I, it's a good ball in by Jack McGlynn. I don't want to take anything away by that,
right.
but
Mhm.
I think if Lovitz times his jump better, then he's going to clear this ball away. But he didn't, and it's a credit to Daniel Gazdag with not letting that um, missed header by Lovitz throw him off. He was following the ball the whole way, and
Mhm.
you complain about players ball watching, but in this case, it was a good thing that Daniel Gazdag was ball watching.
The one thing I noticed is when they were setting that up, I said to her, I was like, no one's covering that back post. And
Yeah, no.
Daniel's just standing there. I'm like, somebody needs to cover this. He puts that over towards him. That's gonna be trouble, and sure enough. So
Sure
Is it
enough.
weird that that's back-to-back games now that nobody's marked Daniel Gazdag on those set pieces?
I love how Jim, and when I forget who it was it Joe or Jose asked him like about Daniel, and like Jim just keeps saying he's invisible. And I'm like, what? Like he just appears out of nowhere. But I mean, credit to him. That's 2 games now. He's had some really good open play goals. So
Yeah, I mean, people don't need to call him the pen merchant right now, huh?
for sure. But one other stat, and you brought this up, Todd, and I talked to you yesterday about this. Hani Mukhtar, you and I both big fans of his. Um, for those that have listened to both of our
Mhm.
podcasts, but Union now have kept him shut out. The only time Hani's ever scored against the Union has been in the Eastern Conference semis in 2021. So, I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts? Like, again, Union neutralize Hani.
Yeah, I mean, Jim talks about it all the time. You want to contain the other team's best players. Good players are still going to find ways to hurt you, but to, for instance, drawing Hani Mukhtar away from goal, making him touch the ball outside of the 18-yard box. If you're doing that, it's a win. And so, the Union tried to do that against Carlos Gil. They tried to do that against Luciano Acosta. You don't want these playmakers in dangerous areas. And I do get why Jim Curtin, in a sense, played with three in the back because he wanted to make it hard for Hani Mukhtar. But at the same time, too, like, why go away from your identity? Like,
Right.
in my opinion, you're showing Nashville a little bit too much respect playing three in the back when you're attacking, five in the back when you're defending. Like, they don't have the attacking talent well enough to show them that kind of a respect. And so that was a little bit troubling to me. And you saw as soon as they switched to the diamond, the Union get two goals.
Yep.
Like after that
Hmm.
Julian Kranza goal, there was a moment, 10, 15 minutes where the Union just kept creating chance after chance. And you're like, man, there's going to be a missed opportunity here. Like the Union have to do something or this could wind up in a draw. Like the momentum's clearly in the Union's court.
Yep.
Nashville, they're starting to sweat. They feel the pressure by the Union, something they didn't feel in the first half. And leave it to the Union to leave it until the 90th minute to get a game-winning goal. But um, I know I just kind of went on a
No.
tangent there, but yeah, I mean, Hani Mukhtar, great player, but yeah, I mean, in the regular season, he does nothing against the Union.
Ever since Andre Blake saved his PK in that playoff game, he's
Hmm.
been snake bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, for sure. So, Union finish 2-1, and now we're heading to Atlanta. And
And before we do that, also, I we want to talk about Geodis Park a little bit too, and the
yeah.
fan experience there before we wrap up and talk about Atlanta.
Oh, this is
What
good.
were what were your thoughts of the stadium?
Thank you for bringing that up because that's what I wanted to share earlier when you asked about the Johnny Cash kit. Yeah, this is the weirdest experience I've ever had at an away stadium. So, I
Really?
mean, I've been to, as a fan, Atlanta twice, DC United, I've been to, Cincinnati, I've been to, and now Nashville. So that's three different stadiums that I've been to as a fan. And they were really strict. They said, yeah, you guys can only enter through this one gate. You need all your fans here at this time so you can get escorted up to your section. Um, you can only exit through this one gate after the game's over. It was extremely weird. I don't know why they were so strict. There was areas in the stadium we weren't allowed to go to. It was banned from us for whatever reason. So I didn't really get the opportunity to go and explore the stadium like I normally would. Now, how many, I guess, employees would know that those rules are enforced? I'm not sure. I mean, you would think all of them should know those rules, but yeah, this is just what we were told. Obviously, like we had to keep all the chants PG. We had to watch what we said because they had about three or four security guards around us. Which, by the way, shout out to all the Union fans that traveled. There's about maybe 50 of us there. I think
Oh,
Nice.
52
nice.
tickets were officially sold in the supporter section, but not all 52 fans were there. But the air was packed, and for all of us there, like I there was only one moment I think in the game that you guys heard us was when Julian Kranza scored. You could
Yeah.
hear Duke faintly, I think.
Yeah, we
Yes.
could kind of hear the fans a bit there, yeah.
But I don't understand this because for people who haven't went to away games, typically the away fans are sat in the family section, and that's
Yeah.
never a good combination. But
No,
man,
it's
let me
not.
tell you guys, these family sections were insane. We had kids flipping us off once Nashville takes the score. They're saying union suck. They're
Wow.
saying F you and all this. And I'm like, wait, we can't say F you, but these little kids can give us the finger. They can cuss at us and everything, and nothing gets done to them. But let that be Philly fans. And people are getting tossed out of the stadium. It's insane to me. And so as soon as Julian Kranza scores the first goal, these little kids all quiet. And then I loved when Daniel Godzik scored this goal because this little blonde haired kid, is just giving us the double bird. I'm like, you have some Philly in you, kid. And so
Yeah.
as soon as Daniel Gazdag scores that goal, I look at this kid, I give him the death stare. His head's down in his lap. He's crying. I said, that's what you get. And like these kids are just so stunned. Like, I don't care. I do not care that I stare down a little kid. You want to give me crap, you can take it. You can
Yeah.
give it, you can take it. And man, these little kids, they were mortified watching their team blow a 1-goal lead, not create any chances in the second half, and it's all good and fun. And
Yeah.
That's
I was just
hilarious.
really, really, really proud of all the Union fans and um, the chanting. I mean, all 50 of us, I'd say that we chanted for 80% of that game. And when that final whistle blew, we were doing Philadelphia Union and
Yeah. Yeah, we could
Union,
hear it at the end too on the
Union.
broadcast a
Yeah,
bit.
like so it's pretty cool because people who haven't been to Geodis Park, you can't get wet because they have a roof over all the seats, which is cool. And so that obviously is going to make the noise a lot louder.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's how it
And
is
it's
for
just
us in like
echoing,
Red
you're
Bull.
going up and it
Yeah.
echoes down. And so it makes those 50 people seem like you have 100 people.
Oh,
And
for
so
sure.
I was proud of all the Union fans that were there that were making noise. And it was very well coordinated by Polemy. I've got to give her a flower. She did an outstanding job. And I think a lot of fans that maybe haven't sat in the uh, river end before, they got to experience it for an away stadium, and I think they came away really appreciative of what the Sons of Ben and Keystone State Ultras do every single game.
Yeah, whenever I've been to away games and I'm always with the supporters there. Kyle sometimes is not with me, but I can tell you like that's the best thing though. There's away games a lot. Most of the people that go and they're in our supporter section, they're gonna bring it. I mean, there's nothing like being in an away game at like Red Bull and DC and stuff. At Red Bulls though, it's like you've got that roof there, so it really amplifies everything. And we had, gosh, when we went, we had so many fans and it was so stinking loud. Um, and it was just reminding me seeing Drew Yearwood playing. It's like we'll never forget that one time when he kicked the ball into the
Yeah.
stands when we were at the game. Oh my goodness.
That was wild.
Like right at one of their fans. Remember that? But
And he got a red card for it too, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
got
And of course
yeah.
us fans let him hear it. But anyway, yeah, like when we were in Colorado in our kind of fan section, yeah, the security was all like telling us, yeah, you got to keep it PG basically. And we're like,
Well,
Oh
they
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
We weren't
and
allowed to like turn around and give the finger
oh
when
yeah.
they do the lineup to like sucks. Yeah, we weren't allowed to do that. Like we got warned. Yeah, that's not gonna
They
fly.
That's
did that.
exactly what
Nobody,
happened in Colorado.
They did that to
nobody.
yes Yankee Stadium too. Remember the first time?
Oh yeah.
So the first time we went to Yankee Stadium when the Union beat NYCFC in 2022. Uh, yeah, they did the same thing. We were allowed to turn around for sucks, even though some of us did.
We couldn't
Uh,
say sucks.
yeah, we couldn't swear, and yet NYCFC kids are like over there, being New York fans, like telling us to go F ourselves, and we're like,
Yeah. So
it's like, okay, all right.
yeah.
So
But no, that's really cool. I know that's a stadium we were hoping to get to at some point. We wish we could
yeah,
have gone to that one, but we're hoping to get up to Montreal for that, at least go to that away game. But no, it's always neat to hear about the other stadiums, and I'm glad to hear we had a good fan base there because you
me
guys got to
too.
see well, a good second half of the game. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
if you want to go back and watch the game, just watch the second half.
Yeah.
That's all we're gonna say. So anyway, Union head now to Atlanta.
Yes. Where you have been, Todd.
Yes. So
I have.
Todd, talk. I'm gonna be doing my travel blog coming out later this week. So part of that, I know you and I have talked many times. This is one of your favorite places to visit, one of your favorite cities. So tell fans where, if they're going down the game, they should check out.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you got to do the aquarium,
Yeah.
the biggest aquarium in the United States, second
Yep.
biggest, I believe, in the world. Fantastic aquarium. I mean, if you take your time, it should take you 4 to 5 hours. Like it's a gigantic aquarium and
Does it put
very
Baltimore to
relaxing.
shame? Because that's a really
Everything
good
puts Baltimore to the shame, in my opinion.
yeah.
I
I
don't
like.
know if anybody here has been to the Myrtle Beach Aquarium or the Ripley's Aquarium, which isn't a
Yeah.
huge aquarium. But I put that over Baltimore's. Like, I'm just not impressed whatsoever by Baltimore Zoo. It's zoo or aquarium. Like, neither one of them are
Mhm.
good, in
You
my
don't
opinion.
like the Baltimore's tropical area up atop with the glass ceiling. I always loved the rainforest. That was like my favorite thing as a kid.
I haven't been to tons of aquariums. I
I
always thought
haven't been
Baltimore's was
to
good, but
Baltimore's in like 20 years though, so
and I was
maybe
at the
it's
zoo when I was like
changed.
in
They
kindergarten.
don't
So it's been
have
a
the
long
beluga
time.
whales anymore, do they?
Wales. I was just there. This is so bad. I don't think so now.
You remember when you walked in, you had to walk across that little like bridge to get to the actual aquarium, and they had that like open water
Oh
tank.
yeah, yeah. That's where the
Well,
dolphins were.
well, back in the day, they used to have
They had
beluga
whales.
whales in there,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
definitely no whales.
okay, well then now that's disappointing
It's
because that
dolphins, and they don't even do a dolphin show anymore. So it's just an
Mm.
observation tank. So you get to just watch the dolphins swim
dolphins swim
around, which
around.
is
Do they
cool.
still have the Shark Tank at least?
Yeah, they have
The
it.
sharks were cool, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, at
Well,
least that's
anyway,
something. Anyway,
yeah,
oh, I
continue.
can't
Sorry
wait.
for
Yeah.
us getting off on a tangent
Yeah.
there.
The God, this is something where we need Shelby here. She could tell you every single animal that's inside of the Georgia Aquarium. You guys look it up. You know that's your
All
homework
right.
for this episode. Look out all the animals in the Georgia Aquarium, listeners. There's your homework.
Well, maybe we could do a separate episode with Shelby Jillian. We could do a bonus episode about the Georgia Aquarium.
Yeah.
No, anyway.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola tour, that's really cool. So you get to try
Yep.
all these different Coke flavors all over the world.
Hmm.
Taste what, other countries are drinking, and it was really cool. 2 years ago, I believe it was,
Yep.
uh when Coca-Cola was testing a birthday cake flavor. I don't even know if they made that out into the stores. But yeah, I got to taste that and I was like, this is like super sweet, like a little too sweet.
Really?
And like I like sweets, but I was like, yeah, this is a little bit too much. Like after a half a sip, I feel like you're gonna have diabetes. It was just way too sugary. But yeah, I love just trying all these different flavors there. The one thing that sucked because like I had COVID back when I last went there. And so I got over COVID and I couldn't smell anything. And I still really can't smell anything after 2 years of having COVID or initially getting COVID the first time. And yeah, the Coke tour is really cool. Centennial Park, where the Olympics were held, that
Hmm.
was really, really cool. Richard Jewell, who was a security guard who saved so many lives
Yeah.
because of the bombing, they dedicate some parts of the park because of him. They actually have a section in the park exactly where one of the bombs went off, and they have nails, like the actual nails that went off in these bombs into objects in the park. They left all that stuff there, and so it's like, wow, this is like really, really rare. You can't go wrong with anything food wise down south. It's all good. They give you so many big portions. One of my biggest or favorite breakfast places that we discovered was a restaurant called Another Broken Egg. They actually have one of those in Nashville too. And I just realized a few months ago that there's Another Broken Egg in Maryland too, but it's definitely not as good as the ones down south because you get so much bigger portion sizes. The food tastes a lot better, and so yeah, that's what I would recommend. And then of course, Shelby and I had to go to the original Chick-fil-A, so yeah, that was cool too.
Oh yeah.
How was
Nice.
that?
It was cool. It was cool. Tastes like a regular Chick-fil-A. I feel like sweet tea down south's definitely like it's going to send you in the hospital because they put
Hmm.
so much sugar into them. But yeah, it was cool.
Diabetes.
Yes.
That's like me when I went to Gaffney, South Carolina for that interview at
Yeah.
Limestone, and we had to go like, and they're like, "Hey, you gotta try the South Carolina sweet tea," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what
Yeah,
is
dude,
this?"
it's no joke.
No, it's not. It's like drinking pure cane sugar.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, where's the tea in this? It's like drinking sugar. Anyway, so Union play on Sunday. Union 2 are back for their third home match of the
Yeah, they're
second.
playing on Thursday at home at 4 o'clock, which unfortunately with my work schedule and your work schedule, we can't swing that. But that hopefully some people can get out to that.
Yeah. And just an update on St. Baldricks. I'm still at $353 raised. We're going to be doing that and the Stash Bash on April 27th.
Yeah, so Kyle's getting his head shaved when we play Real Salt Lake at home.
We are. And so, come out, support that. We'll be there having some fun. And
Yes,
again,
and
it all goes to a great cause
yes.
for childhood cancer research. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll leave the links in the description. And again, Todd, thank you so much for coming out today and joining us and sharing these stories. Again, it's always good to have you on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to just continue being the leading guest of the show. I feel like there's something that I'm forgetting to mention about my Nashville trip, but it can't come to me again. 3-4 hours of sleep's going to do that to you. Man, this sucks.
So what you
Can't
got?
remember what I was gonna say. If you want to go to Nashville, people stay in Hillsboro and get a Sonder apartment. I highly recommend.
Yeah, so Todd told me about Sonder, and I've been looking into it, and now I've actually looked at some for like our trip in June for Vegas, because yeah,
Yeah, it
these
sucks
things.
because they're not in every city. So, um, I do think eventually they will get there, but they're cheaper than Airbnb and Verbo. So
Yeah,
definitely an option for people out there if you're looking to travel. Look at Sonder, Sonder. Hook you up with
yeah.
a good deal. I
Yo,
won't, but they will.
yo, send me that link. Send me the link, and I'll put it in the description. So, anyway, so where can people find you, and what you have coming up, on your next episode of the Free Kick?
Oh man, people can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Free Kick Pod. Wherever you get your podcasts, the Free Kick, the Substack website, thefreekick.substack.com, which I'll be honest, guys, I told you guys on Twitter this morning that yeah, I'll have an article coming out uh with a review of the Nashville game. Not gonna happen. I don't think so. I recorded my goals breakdown video while in Nashville, and somehow, some way, I was able to do that video in like a little bit of sleep, and hopefully it came out good for people to enjoy. But on the latest episode, I'm gonna have my buddy Jem Toygar, and we're gonna break down the game, talk about our experiences. And so, if you guys enjoyed hearing my experiences, wait till you hear his experience in Nashville. I mean, this guy was a royalty. Anything that happened to me for me in Nashville is all because of this guy. So really looking forward to you guys all listening to Jam and I break down this game, talk about our experiences, and I'll be curious to see, what he thought the level of play was in this MLS game, what he thought the level of play was from the Union compared to, soccer that he's used to over in London. I'm curious to hear, have we made a Union fan for life out of him, out of that one
Mm-hmm.
performance? So we'll discuss all that on the latest episode of the Free Kick Podcast.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. And we got you have an article coming out. I just dropped
Yes.
a recap from Saturday's match, and I'll have the Atlanta travel blog coming out later this week. So keep an eye out for that. And until next time, this has been us for the One Team We Agree On.
And make sure to subscribe and leave us comments. We love hearing from you. And if you have any ideas for future guests or episodes, send them our way. And yeah, just keep bringing those comments in. It's awesome. We love all the interactions. So yeah,
Thanks again to our guest Todd Lewis for coming on. And
always a pleasure.
until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.